Want to cut the cable? Yay! That's what we're here for, right? All right, so to get started, here's our agenda tonight. 3 questions I'll have for you to ponder during this presentation. We're going to have 3 expert videos because I've found that sometimes YouTube, these guys on YouTube, and these aren't long, they can speak volumes and demonstrate much more than I can with my limited ability of doing things. And then we're going to talk about the silicon dust, and that's the device I have connected to the house antenna, and I can pull a signal in this room, and actually I'm going to pull a recording, okay, that I recorded Channel 8 news, and you'll see it. I am having a problem with the sound, so when I switch over to these very streaming devices, it'll just be for visual only. So not sure why, it's a long story. And then the live demo, that's what we'll do over here with the streaming devices, and then the wrap up. So let's get started. 3 questions I have for you is, why would you want to cut the cable? Why?
Dollars.
Save money, right?
Yep.
Who's got a bill with, who's got an what is it? Astound? Powered by Grandy? Who's got an Astound bill? Over $300.
Yeah.
Whoa, you need to cut the cable, all right? Okay, that's a lot of money. All right, so we're going to investigate a lot of things about this. So why most people say they truly want to cut it to save money, and also other things, but that's primary content. So we have to think about, what is it that we're going to watch? If we're just going to watch local channels, and I've met people like that, and that's, 4, 5, 8, and 11, all right? You just put an antenna on the house. No HOA restrictions on that. That's a signal that comes from, from the antennas down in Cedar Hill. They cannot do anything about that because the FCC regulated.
HD.
Yeah, HD, back 4K. That can be 4K with the silicon dust. And we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so content. If it's other things, then you'll see through the videos, but you got to really say, what is it I really want to watch, And then you'll determine how you're going to cut the cable and what you're going to use to do it with. And then flexibility. How flexible am I to do this? And this is the hardest thing for most people out here. They cannot walk away. They want to do it, but they can't walk away from the TiVo, that's the recording device, right? And their big remote control, right? Because you end up with, over here I got, I don't know how many, 5 remotes, 4, 3, something like that. So you end up with a lot of remotes, depending on what streaming device you have. I've got them all, just about every one of them. But I have a smart remote, so it's doing all of the heavy lifting. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with our first expert video, 7 steps.
Hey, it's Michael here, and today, cord cutting in 2022. Big things are changing. I cut the cord more than a decade ago. Check out this picture of my dog Lucy. This is from 2012. You can see my indoor antenna right there in the background. Back then, sure, we had Netflix, but now there is just so much more. You've got live TV streaming services with your cable channels, on-demand services with original content, and then ad-supported services that are legal and totally free. There has never been a better time to cut the cord. So in our video today, I'm going to share exactly how to do it in just 7 steps. Let's get started. Number 1, figure out your why. Over the past few years, I've helped thousands of people cut the cord here in my YouTube channel and also on my website. And I've identified 3 key reasons why people cut the cord. The first one is price. Despite what some people say, in most cases, you can still save money with streaming compared to cable. I can tell you that I've saved more than $10,000 over the past decade. The second reason people cut the cord is for more flexibility. And that's because most streaming services do not have long-term commitments or contracts. That way you can sign up for 12 months, 6 months, or 1 month only. I also recommend that you rotate your subscriptions. When you get bored with Netflix, cancel it and switch to HBO Max for a bit. That brings me to number 3, content. Some of the best content is no longer premiering on broadcast or cable TV. Instead, you're going to find it on Netflix and other streaming platforms. It's important that you figure out your why because streaming is not the same as your current cable or satellite setup. It will take you some time to adjust, but the savings alone make it worth it for most people. Number 2, know your content, wants, and needs. There are 3 main types of streaming services. Let's call them Cable 2.0, Netflix and More, and Free Stuff. And here's what you need to know. The further away you get from those Cable 2.0 services, the more money you're gonna save over time, and that's what I'd recommend if it works for you. Now let's talk more about the content. First, those Cable 2.0 services. I also refer to these as live TV streaming services, and they offer live feeds of cable networks, plus on-demand content from those channels. If you watch a lot of sports and opinion news, you may want one of these services. My number 1 pick for first-time streamers is YouTube TV, and that's because it offers the best of cable TV, sports, news, entertainment, and your locals. Yeah, it's expensive, but it is cheaper than cable for most people. My budget pick is Sling TV, and if you only watch 5 or 10 cable channels or so, you may find everything you need with this service. I've got a separate video that breaks down the differences between the live TV services. I'll drop a link below in case you want to check that one out next. Right now, let's move on to the second category, Netflix and More. I also call these on-demand streaming services, but that's really an oversimplification because some of them do have live elements. But here's the difference. They do not carry the live feeds of the cable networks. For that, you need a Cable 2.0 service. I'm going to use Peacock as an example. This service is owned by NBC Universal, which operates the NBC broadcast network and many cable networks. Peacock offers on-demand content from its family of networks, plus some original shows you won't find elsewhere. While you won't find live feeds of the cable networks, there are some live elements. For example, you can stream Sunday Night Football on Peacock, which also airs on NBC. For the most part, services in the Netflix and More category are cheaper than the Cable 2.0 services. Some of them have commercials, others do not, and the plans with ads are typically the most affordable options. Take a look at it this way. You could sign up for a handful of these services for the price of one premium Cable 2.0 service. But here's the key. You do not have to sign up for all of these services at once. Limit yourself to maybe 3 to 5 subscriptions at a time, and remember my tip from earlier, you can always rotate your subscriptions. Moving on to the free stuff category, and this might surprise you, but there are plenty of free, legal streaming services to discover. The services in this category are typically supported by advertising, so you will get some commercials, but usually less than regular TV. Pluto TV, the Roku channel, and Tubi are 3 of my favorites. These services are all free, and they offer libraries of movies and TV shows, but some of the content is not as fresh as the paid services. That is the trade-off. But there are exciting changes happening, and I'm going to use Amazon's IMDb TV for example. This free service is investing heavily in original content. In 2021, it launched Judy Justice, a new court show from Judge Judy Scheinlin. Plus, it's got more original series on the way. Best of all, you do not have to pick one category over the other. A lot of people I know have a live TV Cable 2.0 service, as well as free and paid on-demand services from the other categories. Stick with me because I've got a lot more to share. Number 3, run the numbers. Now that we've gone over the types of streaming services, let's get into the money and how much you can really save. Let's say your current TV bill is $200 a month. First, subtract the cost of internet service. Most of my audience pays $50 to $75 a month for internet service. So why don't we use $75 for this example? That leaves $125 for streaming TV services. If you want a Cable 2.0 service with sports, news, and local stations, expect to pay around $70 a month for a base plan. And that'll leave $55 a month in savings compared to cable. Now you could stop here or add a few services from the Netflix and More category. In this example, 3 services cost about $30. The streaming TV bundle that I've assembled here offers more content and more flexibility, and you are still saving money compared to cable. So let me give you the bottom line. If you can live without one of those Cable 2.0 services, what are you waiting for? Cut the cord already? It is definitely worth it for you. But if you rely on cable channels, if those are must-haves for you, Take a little more time and run the numbers. Number 4, explore new internet options. A lot of people get internet service from the same company that provides TV. But what you can do is call them up and cancel the TV portion of your bill and keep internet-only service. If you call up your existing provider and you don't like the price quote for internet-only service, you may have other options. For example, T-Mobile and Verizon are expanding 5G home internet service. T-Mobile home internet is $50 a month as of this recording, and that price includes the Wi-Fi gateway that you need to stream. And even if these new options are not available in your area yet, call up your existing provider and ask for the retention department. Then politely ask for a lower price on an internet-only plan. Remember, most of my viewers pay $50 to $75 a month for internet. And while we're talking about internet service, make sure that your internet plan can handle the demands of streaming. Look for an internet plan with download speeds of at least 100 megabits per second. 200 is even better, especially if multiple people in your house connect to Wi-Fi. Now you can get by with lower speeds, like 50 megabits per second, but service may not be as reliable. We've made it to number 5. Keep your setup simple. I'm looking out for your money in this section because there are a lot of people online who try to sell you equipment that you just don't need to cut the cord. In fact, you probably already got everything you need to get started. This is a basic streaming TV setup. It includes 3 things: a TV set, a streaming device, and an internet connection. That's it. And if you've got a smart TV, you don't technically need a streaming device. For example, I'm using a Samsung Smart TV. You can see here that popular streaming apps are pre-installed and others are available to download. If all your favorite apps are available from your smart TV, no need to rush out and get a streaming device. But the problem many people run into is that some apps are not available for download from the Samsung Smart TV interface. And I've had a similar experience when I owned an LG Smart TV. And in this case, the solution is to buy a streaming device. And I recommend Roku devices because they're inexpensive and easy to use. At the time of this recording, the Roku Express 4K Plus is a top seller. Hooking it up to your TV set is simple. Once installed, you can access your favorite apps from the Roku channel store, including the free Roku channel. I recommend Roku's in part for the large icons that make it really easy to navigate. The remote is also easy to master. Take a look at the Roku remote side by side with the Samsung TV remote. Now come on, which one would you rather use? There's a 4th piece of equipment for cord cutters. It's optional, but I highly recommend it. I'm talking about an antenna for your local broadcast stations. I use a Mohu Leaf indoor antenna since I live in a city and I'm close to broadcast towers. But depending on where you live, an outdoor antenna may be best. Check out the Antenna Man YouTube channel to learn more about your options. Here on YouTube, he's the go-to antenna expert. And number 6, get the timing right. This is a short but very important part of the process, so let's dive right in. If you've got a cable or satellite package, check your latest bill to see if you're in a contract. And if you are, now may not be the time to cut the cord. But you've got another option, and this has worked for a lot of people. Call up customer service and see if they'll let you out of the contract without paying an early termination fee. I've found that if you drop TV but keep internet service with the same provider, they are more likely to work with you. Don't have a contract? Well, you can cancel your existing pay TV subscription at any time. But don't rush into cutting the cord just yet. Instead, try out streaming services before you cancel cable or satellite service. Most of the Cable 2.0 live TV services have free trials that let you test them out for a week or so before your bill. And if you don't like one service, move on to another until you find the best fit. And once you cut the cord and start paying for streaming services, you should know that billing is not prorated. If you rotate your subscriptions, keep track of your billing dates. I created a free streaming TV spending tracker that you can use, but you can also just set cancellation reminders on your calendar. That works too. Number 7, remain flexible and open to savings. Up until now, this video has focused on the process of cutting the cord, the things you need to know before you start streaming. So by now, you should be able to answer these questions. Why am I cutting the cord? What type of content and services do I need? How much will it cost? Do I have the right internet provider? Do I have the right equipment? And when is the best time to cut the cord? If you've decided that cutting the cord is right for you, manage your expectations. Because if you go into this process trying to replicate cable, every channel, every feature, you may be setting yourself up for disappointment. Just know going into it, there is a learning curve and it will take time to adjust. Remember the picture that I shared at the top of this video? 10 years ago, I had an indoor antenna and a Netflix subscription. That's how I started, but now I stream more than a dozen services. No, I don't subscribe to them all at once. As I've mentioned in this video, I rotate my subscriptions to save money. Here's how that looks. I subscribe to a cable 2.0 service for about 6 months out of the year, plus a couple of my favorite on-demand services from the Netflix and more category. And the other 6 months out of the year, I pay only for the services in the Netflix and more category. And that's probably my favorite savings tip, but I've got a lot more for you in my video on how to stream everything you want and still save money compared to cable.
Questions?
You were shaking. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
You were shaking your head when he was talking about Verizon and whoever else it was.
Yeah, it doesn't work out here.
Well, I know it doesn't yet, exactly. It will.
It depends on your location and some.
Yeah,
places
I
it
mean,
does.
how many have challenges with just their mobile phone working out here? The problem that I see, I'll get back to you, Heckler. I'll get back to you. The problem out here is everybody is, got all new people moving in, and some of these carriers, one that starts with an A, they're not keeping up with their network. All right, so they're not adding what we call base stations in the industry. It's a tower, and they need more towers. They're not going to put one in here. Verizon had a lease that they were going to do, and they gave up and left. So that would have been perfect if they'd gotten a base station in here. You'd got excellent signal, and you could have done what they said. But right now, the Astound powered by Grandy, actually, it's not a bad service. It's not, and I think it's very reasonable. I get the top tier, and I don't have any problem with it. And that's all I get from them. But I have my own modem, I have my own router, and away I go. I don't pay for any equipment rental. I'm just paying for the data, okay? And I consume it all the time. So does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, back there. You had a question?
I just wondered if there are other sources of internet besides broadband.
Not really. Just like I said. I mean, I did see a guy installing a dish network for data out here on Bradford about 2 months ago. Well, it might have been last year, actually. But anyway, it's very expensive and it's not very fast. And I don't think you're going to be satisfied with satellite data, all right? About the only thing, I'll get to you in a second, Mike. But the only thing we can do out here is the cable modem as such, But buy your own, get your own router, and away you go. You're just buying data from Grandy. You're not subject to anything else. Mike?
There's some locations at the ranch that have good connectivity to T-Mobile home internet.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to search on T-Mobile home internet, put in your address, see if it's available to you.
Mm-hmm.
$50 a month, all in equipment and everything,
Okay.
taxes included. I use it.
Great. All right.
What's the speed that they claim with the T-Mobile now?
It's about 200.
So what he said here, 200 megabits per second. Yes, over here.
Were you saying that if I bought my own equipment, my modem,
Mhm.
my router, and I called up Grande and said, hey, I've got my own equipment, and I started using my own, and they came out and picked it up, my bill would go down?
Well, you won't be paying that rental. Okay,
You won't be renting your equipment from the provider.
that's right.
It'll be less.
I would own a router and a modem and.
So this is,
Upfront, but less per month.
right, this is my opinion. Mike kind of, he and I disagree on this. There is a certain amount of what would you call it, Mike? Got to have a
Bail.
stomach for it,
Bail.
okay? Okay, so if you buy your own equipment, you're your own IT person. And I had that happen. And I was Willy Wonka at the chocolate factory. I'm telling you, whoa, did it spin my head off. And it was all my fault. I'd gone down the rabbit hole, and then I took it up and feeding it back. But I tell you, Grandy at that time, called Grandy, they were excellent. They did exactly what they said they would do. They came out, they laid a new line in the yard, they set technician after technician. It wasn't their fault, but they never charged me. So I don't have any complaints with Grandy itself, all right? But I know my modem, I know my router, and I'm the boss of it, you might say. okay? But for most people, you'll probably be better off with their combo unit modem router. As far as I know, they're not selling separate devices. I think you get better service if you have your own separate router and your own modem, all right? Personally, I think that's the best way to go, if you're able to do it. All right,
You use
Kimo.
Ethernet for your main source, is that mostly, or are you using Wi-Fi?
Both.
Okay.
Most of my streaming devices are capable of connecting up through a hub. I've got several hubs around the house, and so they're jacked in, right, just like I have this Surface over here jacked into the wall here. So they're getting the fastest speed possible. I do a lot of streaming music and a lot of 4K stuff. So
But you didn't talk about the half-price deal,
what's that?
your neighbor. You pay them half
Next.
price.
Next.
You go in and go on the
No, you
same
don't.
Wi-Fi. Or three.
Go ahead. Question?
Yeah, just, Steve, I got, a modem and a router,
Right, combo.
but still working full-time, and I'm in the financial world.
Mhm.
And so I've got to have Bloomberg and CNBC,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm stuck, my wife said, you're stuck with AT&T as a result of that. So is there, of course, I get the guide and all of that, it's not terribly expensive, but is there any way around that?
Well, if you can get it on a streaming device. Mike, do you know any more?
TV has CNBC as one of the channels. I'm not sure about Bloomberg. I'd have to look that up. But it has CNBC.
Yeah, well, the television has CNBC.
So-
YouTube TV has it.
But you have it on your device that you can then share on your TV.
Yeah, your streaming device.
What device are you talking
Okay,
about?
so what I would suggest is you Google it. Okay?
Can I talk to you afterwards? Be glad to talk.
Yeah, Mike will talk to you. All right. All right, let's move on. We had some more questions. Any more? All right, is this good? Are you bored yet?
Yeah.
Nobody can leave. All right, expert video number 2.
Hey, what's going on? Michael, welcome to the channel. And when people ask me how much money they're going to save by cutting the cord, I ask them a question right back. Which type of cord cutter are you? I've got a good one for you today. I'm going to share the 4 types of cord cutters and the pros and cons of each. Let's get started. Number 1 is what I'm calling the Max Saver. There are a lot of people who don't want to pay anything or hardly anything for TV, and if that sounds like you, the Max Saver strategy is the one to pursue. Max Savers spend between $0 and $25 a month on streaming TV, and Max Savers are most likely to have one of these. This is the Mogu Leaf indoor antenna, but you could also have an attic or roof antenna if an indoor antenna doesn't work where you live. If it is an option, installing an antenna is probably the best decision that you can make to save money on TV over the years. You can get all your locals plus lesser known channels for just the one-time antenna cost. Now, if you only rely on that antenna, you don't need internet service, but most people want it or have it already anyways, and that can open up a lot more options for 100% free TV. In a recent video on the best free and cheap streaming services, I laid out all my favorites. Free services like Pluto TV and the Roku channel offer a mix of live and on-demand content, and they are supported by advertising. Other free options that I like are Peacock, IMDb TV, and Tubi. Leave your favorite down below. But as the old saying goes, you get what you pay for, and with these free ad-supported services, you'll get access to plenty of movies and shows to stream, but they offer fewer original series compared to some of the other on-demand services I'm about to talk about. And that is why some Max Savers will want to supplement the TV they get from an antenna and free streaming services with maybe 1 or 2 paid apps. For example, Netflix. The standard plan is $13.99 a month as of this recording, and the best thing about it, no ads. So many people keep Netflix as their primary streaming service because it has so much original content with something for everyone in the family. Then they sprinkle in those free services that I mentioned for a little variety. And if you're willing to spend closer to $25 a month, the top of the Max Saver budget, you could add a second paid app to the mix, something like Hulu, Disney Plus, or even HBO Max. A lot of people who fall into this Max Saver category don't spend a whole lot of time watching TV, so the expensive cable bundle, it really never made sense for them. But it doesn't make sense either for the next type of streamer. Let's continue. Now on to number 2, and I'm calling this the ad dodger. And this type of streamer is becoming a whole lot more common. For $50 a month or less, the ad dodger will assemble their own custom bundle of streaming services that do not run commercials. They may use an antenna for broadcast TV and the free apps that I mentioned earlier, but less often, because those have ads. So take a look here. I put together this combo of services that keeps you right around $50 a month, and it is commercial free. Netflix Standard, HBO Max with no ads, Hulu no commercials, and Paramount Plus, also with no ads. The total, just over $50 a month. Now, Paramount Plus is not a real favorite of mine for on-demand content, but I included it in this example because it has a live TV component. And with that $10 a month plan, you will get access to a live feed of your local CBS station. So if you cannot pick up CBS with an antenna or another way, this is a way to get at least one of the big broadcast TV stations. Now, if that combo seems like a lot, it definitely is, but here's the reality. A J.D. Power report from 2021 found that it's in line with the average of 4 streaming services per household and a bill of $47 a month. Now, a lot of people could care less about all these new on-demand apps. They just want to watch their favorite cable TV networks with a streaming provider. There is a solution for that, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Number 3, the cable TV clinger. I'm giving you a warning, things are about to get expensive. Depending on your list of must-have networks, you can expect to pay $50 to $100 a month for a live TV streaming service, plus maybe 1 or 2 on-demand apps like the ones I've mentioned already included in that figure. Now, these services cater to people who want to break up with their cable or satellite provider, but they're not ready to give up the cable TV networks. Some of the major live TV streaming services include YouTube TV, Hulu Live, and Sling TV. In my video for first-time streamers, I recommend YouTube TV because, in my opinion, it just has the best of cable at a lower monthly price. The problem is, that price isn't necessarily cheap. It is $65 a month as of this recording, and that is just for the base plan. There are add-ons too, including a new 4K Plus add-on for $19.99 a month. And with YouTube TV, you get your sports channels, the major cable news networks, and your local stations. That's important if you can't use an antenna. And on top of all of that, YouTube TV has a great unlimited cloud DVR. What about the competitors? Well, Hulu Live is priced the same as YouTube TV as of this recording, and it includes Hulu's on-demand streaming library at no additional charge. Meanwhile, Sling TV is a lot cheaper than YouTube TV and Hulu Live, but you will get fewer channels and you won't have all of your local stations. You may like to think about these services as Cable 2.0, and that is because they all feature bundles with dozens and dozens of networks. You're not able to pick and choose the 5 or 10 networks you actually watch and skip the rest, so you are still tied to the bundle in that way. But if you cannot live without your cable news and sports, one of these services may be right for you. But then there's Philo, a live TV service that is a little bit different than others. It has a bundle too, $25 a month and 60 plus networks, but it leans into entertainment and lifestyle programming. Philo does not carry locals or the major cable sports and news networks. And although some of the live TV streaming services like YouTube TV are expensive, they are still typically cheaper than cable. And the other advantage is that there are no contracts with streaming. You can cancel anytime. A lot of people who watch this YouTube channel take advantage of that flexibility and stop and start their subscription. And I bet a lot of regular viewers would consider themselves this next type of cord cutting. Here it is, number 4, the strategic switcher. If all the major streaming services had their way, you'd sign up and never cancel. So they do not like this type of cord cutter. But I think it is the best way to get a variety of content at a reasonable monthly price. Before I explain, let's take a step back. When you think about the 3 cord cutting paths that I've already covered, there are compromises with each of them. With the MaxSaver, you're relying mostly on over-the-air channels and free streaming apps, which both carry lots of ads. The ad dodger avoids the commercials, but you can pay up to $50 a month if you subscribe to 3 or 4 apps. It's great for on-demand, but this is not a live TV solution. And that's where the cable TV clinger comes in. You can get locals, sports, and news with most of these services, but the savings compared to cable may not be so impressive, and you may have little money left in your budget for on-demand apps. But the strategic switcher does not get tied down to one service or one type of cord cut. Instead, this type of streamer may subscribe to a live TV streaming service like YouTube TV to watch a particular sport, but then they cancel it during the off-season and use an antenna for live TV. And during those months without a live TV service, this streamer may sign up for a couple of on-demand apps to binge watch the shows their family and friends have already seen. When you signed up for cable or satellite TV, you probably had to sign a 2-year contract. But that is not the way that streaming works. You can decide every single month if you want to continue or if you want to cancel. My rule of thumb is that if I can't remember streaming 3 things from a particular service in the last month, I pause or cancel it. I created a free spending tracker to help you evaluate your subscriptions and whether they are worth your money. So I'll drop a link to that in the description. And please leave a comment below. Let me know which type of cord cutter you are and how much you spend every month on streaming TV. Thanks for watching today. See you next time.
Questions? It's overwhelming, isn't it? You almost need someone that can come and help you with this.
He doesn't
Does-
talk about data.
What's that? Yeah, he did. First video, 200 megabit per second.
Yeah, but data is a whole other way of getting on the internet and not paying for the.
Oh yeah, you can watch it that way. I do it all the time. But you still have to subscribe to the services. You still have to, you don't have to have a streaming stick or box, but I still have to subscribe to Apple TV Plus or HBO Max or Paramount Plus. All right, so you're not going to circumvent that. You know, to get the content and no ads, you're going to have to pay. But you won't be paying $300 a month. And you'll be at the flexibility of determining what you truly want to watch. That's what I like. During the football season, NFL, I had YouTube TV because they had the red zone. All right? Yeah, I was paying a lot of money for that, but as soon as the Super Bowl was over, I canceled it. Okay? And I saved a lot of money by doing that. And that's what he talks about, rotating. All right? Yes, I could have watched the games, some of the games, the Cowboy games, on my antenna, and it's a very good signal, the best signal I have, because it's not compressed. All right? But I wouldn't get the red zone. So the red zone is you're getting multiple games going on at the same time. So you can kind of keep track of what's going on that day. All right? Mike?
YouTube TV is like $69.06 all in with taxes.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
For YouTube TV.
Oh, okay.
So essentially what he's recommending is like, don't cut the cable, try the YouTube TV for 1 month. That's what I'd suggest.
Try
Right?
it for a week. It's
Or a
free
week.
for
You get it for a week. And if you can live with it, call up Grundy or Stound and cut it. Say, I'm done. Okay? You probably have to take your equipment over to Louisville.
Corinth, Louisville.
Yeah, by Nebraska Furniture Mart, I think. All right? Question back there?
Steve, do you see Locast or something like it ever making an appearance?
They didn't make it. They're done.
Well, I know that they were sued out of existence.
No, these guys that are running these stations, that's why it's so expensive to have cable TV. The Grundys and all these other cable companies, they're charging them for those local channels a lot of money for it to have access to them. And then they get in these fights with them, and they want more money, so they shut it off for a while. Okay, the best thing to do is just put if you want local channels, bite the bullet. I did. The best investment I ever made for cutting the cable was the antenna on the house. Okay?
But remember, you don't get your cable channels doing that.
Well, I don't need them. I got all
No,
these
but some
others, you know.
people on Fox News and things like that.
Hey, I can subscribe to Fox. Okay, back there, just a second.
Is your antenna on your roof or is it in your attic?
No, it's on the roof. I've got wonderful, worthless radiant barrier.
Oh, God.
It knocks down everything. Worst thing I ever paid for. Anyway, I want to go down that road. I want to rabbit hole. Okay, so there's nothing that Robeson can say about that. Anything goes on my roof is mine. All right, and they can't say anything unless you live in the what do they call them? Yeah, if you live over there, they own the roof.
Yeah.
So you got to go their plan, which is usually Dish. Anybody live over there? Okay, if you do, you got to go DirecTV. I think it's Dish. It's what you have to do. They mandate that. Yes.
So if you had, I went back to the question for you.
Next.
So a lot of times we're watching the cable TV and the phone rings, we put the TV on pause, or when we turn on the TV, let's say it's ESPN, I can rewind up to 30 minutes. Can you do that with all these YouTubes and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, it's all this content's on a server somewhere. So I don't actually have to watch it when it's on the guide. I come back and watch it. Okay.
DVR.
It's got a DVR. You can record it. Okay. YouTube is unlimited, and somebody else just went. Hulu just went.
I'm not talking about recording it. I'm talking about can I turn on the TV and backspace 30 minutes and see what the last 30 minutes, because when I get to a commercial, I fast forward.
You
to the
can
commercial.
pause it.
Just a second. Using.
But you can't go backwards at all.
Unless you have a DVR for each channel.
If you've been
TVO,
watching it,
TVO.
you can go back, yes. If you have it on, but if you've changed channels,
Yeah.
that'll cancel and
Okay.
then restart.
So it doesn't retain any channels.
But the easy thing with YouTube is you like it, you hit the like button, it'll record every episode of that and store it in the cloud.
Oh, I see that one.
Now,
TiVo is still good though.
the caveat for the home antenna is you've got to have another device. If you're going to record, okay, it's either like I have the Tableau, and it'll allow me multiple channels to select and record and watch, a time shift like news or weather or anything like that, okay? But you got to have another device. Or you can just, if you don't want it, if you don't care about that, just bring the antenna, connect it to the back of your TV set. Hopefully you got a tuner in it. Some of these cheap Chinese stuff, they don't even put tuners in them anymore, okay? So
Sanyo, or not Sanyo, but many smart TVs have what's called TV selection before you go to the cable selection when you're picking on what your source is. And you go to the TV and there's all your TV channels that are over the air.
right.
So I have the Samsung, so it works on that in each room, in fact. So they have to have something built into the TV to be able to receive that.
Right, you bring in the antenna. Well, you don't have a house antenna, okay?
Oh.
You're using an app somewhere in there.
No,
On
it's
the-
just,
Some of
it's
the
just from the
TVs have a
Samsung.
tuner in them.
Well, they got a tuner, but how are they getting the signal if they got a
Whatever
tuner?
Receiving to the Samsung smart TV.
Oh, it's being streamed through Samsung.
Yeah,
Yep, that's a way to do it.
but you're not paying a whole lot today.
I'll get to you in just a second. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question and a comment. A lot of channels also have their individual streaming service. So like if you like CBS, you can pay like $5 a month or something and just get CBS and do something like Netflix if there's like a channel or two that you like. And I actually forgot what my original question was.
Hey, I did that.
But there are a lot of channels that have their own specific thing that you can just pick and choose.
Right,
That you can.
exactly.
You pay extra for all this, or is it with the YouTube TV, they're all in one place, you don't have to switch applications?
I don't know about YouTube, but I know that like CBS has all access, and that's it's either $5 or $10, and it might be $15 for ad free or.
It's actually changed now. It's called Paramount Plus.
Oh, right, that's right.
Okay, and
Yes.
Paramount Plus, he was banging it. I don't, because if you like Yellowstone, you get 3 seasons of it. If you like 1863, you get, huh? Okay, and of course he's coming out with more stuff. Okay, and he's just going to build this thing with the Dunstan family all the way through. And Paramount Plus has already gone in and bought the rights to what he's going to be doing. Okay, so I think it's a good value personally, and they're constantly coming out with more things. All right.
I remember the other thing I was going to say. With Hulu particularly, there are some things when you go to watch it that it won't let you rewind at all. But there are a lot of things like football, for instance, that you can more often than not go all the way back to the beginning and watch it from the start. So it kind of depends on what it is, and they're kind of finicky when it comes to certain things. But more often than not, you can skip back to the beginning.
it depends on the content provider for them. And they limit that. They said, no, you can't do that.
And with Hulu with no ads doesn't mean no ads ever. They get you.
They do.
There are some providers that they have a contract with that says you have to show an ad, and they can't get around that. So you'll get no ads on most things, but there are a lot of networks that you still have ads, and they'll be less so, but you'll still have some ads that you can't skip.
Hey, what's going on?
Yes. There are different add-ons that you can do. I think the standard is either 50 or 100 hours that you can record worth of stuff.
It's unlimited now, they just changed it
Oh,
last
they
week.
did?
It's unlimited now, yeah.
Well, how about that?
Peter?
Steve, on your antenna, how many local channels do you get?
Okay, he's got a valid question. All right, Peter says, how many channels do I get with the roof antenna? I get a lot, maybe 50. Most of them are worthless. They're in Spanish. Some are coming from Oklahoma. Sorry if you're from Oklahoma. All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, I just focus on the local ones.
So you
Okay.
get 4, 5, 8, 11, 13.
Right, and then there's quite a few channels there.
PBS,
PBS, yes, I get that. Don't have to pay for that. So it's plenty of content if that's all you want. But most people are going to supplement, just like they're going to supplement it with some type of other content. Okay, either it's on the TV set built in, or you're going to do it with a streaming device. The problem with it built on the TV set is that down the road they may not update those apps. So you're stuck. You know what you have to do? Buy a new TV. Question?
I have a question. Do they have any international channels? Because I watch those.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm not aware of any.
I think Hulu does, but I'm not sure.
Not aware of any. Good question.
You want Canadian?
No.
Fubo,
I want from India.
Yeah.
Fubo has a lot of international sports, but not necessarily other kinds of sports.
There is a streaming service for Indian channels. I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But one exists that's specifically for that program. I don't remember what it's called. I don't know how much it costs.
I think I had it. And Netflix has lots of Indian.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
do. Yeah, they do.
And
They do.
TV series, like that. Netflix.
Netflix is really good for
There's a lot of
multicultural and international programming. They've got
Amazon Prime and Netflix has a lot of volume.
That's what Mississippi Roku. Is that your favorite?
No, we'll get to this in a minute. The live demo. All right, I'm going to move on because we've got another short video and then a very, very short video. So we're going to move on, okay?
Hey, it's Michael here, and today, clearing up the confusion about live TV services. You know, it used to be pretty easy to choose a paid TV service. You had two choices, cable or satellite. And if you wanted free TV, an antenna. But now there are more than a handful of live TV streaming services. And when I say live TV service, I'm referring to the ones that offer bundles of cable channels, the same ones that you would get with a cable or satellite TV service. This competition is a good thing. In fact, it's a great thing. But there can be a lot to sort through if you're just trying to cut the cord. So today, I'm going to explain it all in just a few minutes. Let's get started. Number one, the one with the unlimited DVR. YouTube TV's Cloud DVR is arguably the best because there's unlimited storage and you can save your recordings for up to 9 months. Most other services have limits on DVR storage, so the fact that YouTube TV's is unlimited makes it stand out. But this is also my favorite service overall for its combination of sports, cable news, local channels, and other entertainment networks at a monthly price that is cheaper than cable for most people. But if you only watch maybe 5 or 10 channels in YouTube TV's bundle, you may find better options elsewhere, and I'm going to explain them coming up. Number 2, the one with the Disney bundle. Hulu Live is a bundle of live TV networks, including locals, sports, news, and entertainment. But on top of that bundle, it is now including a bundle of on-demand services with the Disney Bundle. When you purchase the Disney Bundle separately, it's $13.99 per month. All of that included with Hulu's live TV service after December 2021. So if you don't take advantage of what's in the Disney Bundle, does it really make sense that you're paying for it rolled into the price of Hulu Live? I'd say the answer is no, and you're probably better off going with one of the other services in this video. Number 3, the one for sports fans? Maybe. Fubo TV positions itself as a sports-centric streaming service, and it is one of the most expensive services because of all of those sports rights. From my review of the service, it really excels when it comes to soccer networks, and it's okay for football too. But I'm not sure it's an ideal service for basketball, baseball, and hockey fans based on some gaps in the channel lineup as of this recording. I've tested Fubo TV a few times, but I'm not sure if it really has a competitive advantage over some of these other services, unless of course you are a soccer fan. Number 4, the one with regional sports networks. If you're trying to watch Valley Regional Sports Networks, you know they've been hard to find on live TV services lately, but DirecTV Stream still has them. They are included in the Choice plan. As of this recording, that is $85 a month plus taxes. Now, DirecTV Stream is different from DirecTV. With the streaming version, there are no annual contracts or hidden fees. You can cancel at any time. Number 5, the one that started it all. Owned by Dish, Sling TV was the first live TV streaming service. And over the years, it has been surpassed in popularity by YouTube TV and Hulu Live, but there are still plenty of good reasons to check out Sling TV. And that primary reason is the price. If you only watch maybe a handful of channels or so, you may be able to get by with just one of Sling TV's base plans. There are 2 base plans. You can combine them though for a discounted price, and it becomes a lot more like YouTube TV or Hulu Live. Sling TV does not offer all 4 local broadcast stations, but you may get Fox or NBC, depending on where you live. Number 6, the one with the reality TV shows. Philo is an interesting live TV service that focuses primarily on entertainment channels, and it leaves out your locals, most cable news, as well as sports. You see here 60 plus channels, $25 a month. A&E, AMC, Discovery, Food Network, Hallmark, History, Paramount Network, TLC, and many more. This is another service with unlimited DVR. Record as many shows as you want, and then you can save them for up to a year. Number 7, the one with mostly family-friendly content. When Friendly TV first launched, it positioned itself as the service that you could watch with the whole family gathered together. But after some channel lineup changes, some changes to how it is marketing itself. You see it right here on Friendly TV's website. It now calls itself the most affordable live TV streaming service. Starting at $7 a month, you get more than 30 channels. Right at the top, you see the new channels, A&E, History, Lifetime. This service has a few channels that you may not get with some of the more expensive ones, so it could be an add-on to those plans or just a cheap standalone service. Friendly TV and most of the other services on this list today offer some sort of a free trial so you can test them out before you break up with your cable or your satellite provider. Find links to those free trials in the description below, and keep watching Michael Saves for more ways to save. See you next time.
Okay, questions?
Steve, there are so many choices out there, so many options, so many, it's unbelievable. How does a person really figure out what is best for them?
You get a consultant, come by.
That's what I figured.
Seriously.
We all know one.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, we know one. Okay. All right, I've got one more video. Is this okay? Watch one more?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can we talk about antennas one more time, or are there specific ones
Oh,
other than the one he recommended?
Here's one right here.
All right.
And this is called ATS3 Next Gen TV. Okay. Now, antennas I'm not going to get into.
Okay.
All right. If you need an antenna for your home, there's a company called Dallas Antenna. Just DallasAntenna.com. And they'll come out, they put mine in, they put in quite a few of them out here. They're very reliable, they've got good antennas, and they'll do the job for you. All right? If that's what you want. I couldn't possibly go through all the antennas. That's not my bailiwick. They can. They can tell you, oh, we've got this one, and it's like, as far as I know, they'll come out and they'll tell you what they can do, and they don't charge you until it works. How's that? Okay? All right. One more short one. This is my favorite, the silicon dust. And this is where we're seeing the cutting edge of 4K over the air.
Hey everyone, it's Tyler, the Antenna Man, and in this video I'm going to list all of the ATSC 3.0 Next Gen tuners available for purchase. For those of you who don't already know, Next Gen TV is the latest over-the-air TV standard that should someday replace the current ATSC 1.0 broadcasts in the United States. If you're a cord cutter or into antennas, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that bell icon to receive a notification whenever I post a new video. Now, before everyone rushes out and buys one of these next-gen tuners or TV sets, I want to make it clear that we are still in the very, very early stages of this thing taking off. It's not like the digital transition of 2009 when broadcast TV stations had to shut off their analog signals in a matter of a few years. The current ATSC 1.0 broadcast will stay on the air in most markets for at least another 10 years. If you want more details about this, including a list of markets where Next-Gen TV is live, I have a video on this topic attached in the description of the video. Some features of the new Next-Gen TV standard include better reception, more channels, mobile viewing on the go, 1080p and HDR picture. With the exception of one paid over-the-air TV service, there is no 4K yet over the air, and there won't be for a while. I also have a video on this topic attached in the description, so don't rush out to buy a new TV set just for 4K. It's not going to happen for a while. Despite this, there may be a few reasons to invest in a next-gen tuner right now. The new standard is a lot more robust than the current 1.0 standard, and it handles multipath much better.
It's worth every cent of it.
What's your password?
No. So why is because I have all of these streaming devices all over the house. I have a media room, it's got a stack of them. I have a great room, it's got a stack of them on the TV set. Because I'm in and out on these devices, decided which one am I going to use. Is it going to be Apple TV? Is it going to be Google Chromecast for Android TV? Is it going to be Fire TV? Okay. I want the choices.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Catherine know how to run all this stuff?
She knows how to use it.
Okay, next.
Most people only need the basic service at 300 megabits per second, because even with 4K streams, you're talking about a maximum of 25 at a time. If you're running a whole bunch of devices, if you get a lot of home automation, then you could think about bigger bandwidth, but 300 it's okay for most people.
When I talked about repeaters or mesh.
Okay, so let's talk about it. The friend that I visited, I walk in there and I said, she's having all these issues and she can't figure out why the remote does this and does that. So I said, go to the wall closet. I'll go to the wall closet and she's got a little small modem in there. Yep. And then on the wire tied on the door outside, she has that Eros, what do they call it? Eros? Eero. So they were using a small modem with the Eero as her router. And then she had a bundle of cables, coaxial cables with the ends cut off. And they didn't go to anywhere. And I go, bam. I said, you call them up and tell your supervisor, brand new home. And she said, I paid extra for everything. Okay, and she's got these coaxial cables that she wants to hook up TV set up to. She can't call Dallas Antenna until those get hooked up to a splitter somewhere. All right? But it's just, I said, no. Either you get the combo unit, what do you call it? The combo router? Gateway, thank you. You get the gateway from Astound, okay? And you can also buy your own. I have a friend, they had their own. Okay, brand new home, but we went with a separate modem like mine and a step down on the router, and they love it. and we put all of it in the wall closet like it should be, then everything worked. They actually was trying to do the same thing with that stupid little thing in the house. And so I don't know. 2 people I know, and it didn't really work. Okay? Now, it may work for other people. If you find your expert consultant, okay, then that person can set up a time maybe to talk to you on the phone or come by, do a site visit, all right, and determine what your needs are. Okay? We just hit the 30,000 foot level in here. All right? I know it's a lot to take in, but this is what you have to do. The 3 things at the front of the meeting is key. You know, why, okay, content, and flexibility. You have to answer those 3 before you can move forward.
But again, I mean, you know, if you're finding poor reception in part of your house, you can get a cheap router. I mean, a extra piece, and it just extends your network.
If you get a good router, mine's in the office. I can get it on the patio. I can get it on the street. Okay.
It depends on the size of your house.
Right. It depends on the size.
Located in your house.
Right. But you know, back in the Big Cat's office, Catherine's office is. Whoop! That was on video.
You better give me that password.
Catherine's office, we did a drop, okay? And the guy wanted to charge me like $300 just to drop a cable from the hub, a Cat 6 cable from the hub down to the office. I go, no, you're not. And I just did it myself. I just fished the thing down there, hooked it up, and she's golden. She's like connected to the wall there. So, you know, we don't have any issues. Okay? I mean, we have issues, but not those kinds. Where's that? Where is it? And, all right, so.
It's being taped, you know.
I know, that's the problem, but I'm the editor. So, any other questions? All right, now one other thing. We have something called Groups.io, and several of you in here are members of the Tech Club through the Group.io. We do not have any membership dues. But what you've done is Group.io has sent you a request, an invitation to join the group. So what will happen, hopefully we got a recording, I hope we got a recording. We'll at least have the show that I did, the slideshow. And so you'll get a link to that on my website where it's posted. And then you'll also get reminders of the next meeting, like for the weatherman, anything else that's coming up. If you'd like to join Groups.io and you signed in over there, you need to put on there G by your email address and name if you want me to sign you in, because I just don't wholesale take that list and start putting people in. Okay? So if you want to do that, make sure you're signed in anyway, so we've got how many people are here. And then I'll put an invitation out, and you can get this presentation. Question, Steve? Pardon? On the clipboard. Yep. You should already be in the Tech Club. Did you get a notice about the meeting? Email?
I think I got an email.
Okay, you're good. Don't worry about it. This is for anybody new in here that would like to know more of what we're doing in the future. What's our next meeting going to be? If you missed the meeting. Yes, your name and your email with a G on there by your name. That means Groups.io. Okay? All right, no other questions? Thanks for coming. Thank you. Cut the cable.